At first, the area near the museum seems empty, and I clench my jaw in frustration. How am I supposed to earn my way out of Central if no one's trading? I need the commissions. Be patient, I remind myself. You need to know when someone might be watching, waiting to decide whether or not they want to speak up. Am I the only trader here now? Which won't last long. Others will come. I see movement out of the corner of my eye, and a girl with short blonde hair and beautiful eyes comes around the corner of the museum. Her hands are cupped in front of her, holding something. For a moment I think of Indy and her wasp nest, and how carefully she always carried it in the canyon. The girl comes closer to me. Can I talk to you? She asks. Of course, I say. Lately, we've mostly done away with the passwords of asking about the History Society. There's not much need for that anymore. She holds out her hands. There, sitting inside of them, is a tiny brown and green bird. It's so strange, and for a minute I stare at the bird, which does not move in any way except for the wind tossing its feathers gently. There's a shade of green I recognize. I made it, the girl says. To thank you for the words you wrote to my brother here. She gives me the bird. It's tiny, sculpted out of mud, and then dried. It feels weighted and earthy in my palm, and feathers teeny torn pieces of green silk, only clothed in wings. It's beautiful, I say. The feathers, are they from the square of silk the society sent me after my banquet a few months ago? She says. I didn't think I needed it anymore. She wore green too. Don't hold the bird too tightly, she says. It might cut you. And then she pulls me out from under the tree shadow, and there's part of the birds that aren't feathers, turns starry, they glitter in the sun. I had to break the glass to get the silk out, she says, so I thought I might as well use it. I crushed it, and when I made the bird, I rolled it in pieces. They're almost as small as sand. Closed my eyes, so I didn't something similar. Back in the burrow when I gave Kai the piece of my dress. I remember clearly the clean snap when I broke the scrap free. The bird shimmers and seems to move. Glitter of glass. Feathers of silk. I look so closely at the living that I have a momentary urge to toss into the sky and see if it will take wing. But I know I will hear only a thud of clay and see scattered green when it hits the ground, and the shape of the bird flying thing destroyed. So I hold it carefully and let the knowledge rise within me like a song. I'm not the only one writing. I'm not the only one creating. Society took so much from us, but we still hear rumors of music, hints of poetry. We still have intimation of art in the world around us. They never did keep us from all of it. We took it in, sometimes without knowing. Many still ache for a way to let it out. I realize all over again that we don't need to trade our art. We could give it to share. Some could bring poems, some else a painting. Even if we took nothing away, we would all have more, having looked at something beautiful or heard something true. The breeze dances in the bird's green feathers. It's too beautiful, I say, to keep to myself. That's how I feel about your poem, she says eagerly. I want to show it to everyone. What if we have a way to do that, I ask. What if we could gather together, everyone could bring what they've made? Where? The museum's the first place that comes to mind, but I turn and look at the boarded up doors. If we could find a way inside the museum, a glass case and glowing golden lights, they'd be broken, but perhaps we could repair them. I imagine sliding open the doors to one of the cases and pinning my poems inside, and stepping back to look. A little shiver goes through me. No, that's not the place. I turn back, and the girl watches me, her gaze level and measuring. I'm Dalton Furl, she says. I'm not supposed to give our names away to traders, but I'm not trading. My name's Cassia Reyes. Tell her. I know, Dalton says. You signed it on your poem you wrote. She paused. I think I have a place that will work. No one comes here, she tells me, because of the smell, but it's starting to get better. We stand at the edge of the marsh and go to the lake, far enough away that we can only see the shore, not what might be washed up on it. I wonder about these dead fish bumping against the dock. My shins and hands with the last-ditch effort to society's part of the poison, more water, and the way that they did in the Outer Providence, than enemy territory. But why would they, society, do something to their own lake? As the rising has cured the plague, they made a still zone smaller. I've seen the airships lifting pieces of barricade back up to the sky, pulling the other pieces in more closely. Some of the buildings that were once within the barricade, now back outside of it. The rising brings an unused piece of barricade out to this vacant ground near the lake. Taken apart, the white pieces of wall look a lot like art themselves. Carving and enormous, like the feathers dropped from earth of a giant being, and then turned into marble, like bones rise from the ground and then turn to stone. They are candy shattered with space to walk between. I've seen this from on top of the air train stop, I say, but I didn't know what it looked like up close. In one place they've dropped two pieces closer together, and then the other. The pieces from what looked like a long hallway carving towards each other, but not meeting up at the top. I walk inside, and the space underneath is cool and little bit of dark and neat line of blue sky streaming light from above. Put my hands against a piece of barricade and look up. Rain will still get in, Dalton says, but it's sheltered enough, and I think it will work. We could put pictures and poems on the walls, I say, and she nods, and build some kind of platform to hold things like your bird. And if someone knew how to sing, they could come here, and we could listen. I stand there for a moment, imagining music echoing the walls and out over the ruins, lonely lake. I know I need to keep training to get to my family, and sorting to keep my place in the rising. But I also feel like something I have to do. I think grandfather would understand.